Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Today's film is IT. Before we start, don't forget the like and subscribe, and feel free to suggest films in the comment section. Let's get started. Derry, Maine, October 1988. Charge Denbrough. Jaden Lieberher helps his younger sibling Georgie, Jackson Robert Scott, make a paperboat, calling it the SS Georgie. Georgie needs to go outside to cruise it in the heavy storm. However, Bill is excessively wiped out to go along with him. The siblings embrace before Georgie heads out to play. Georgie sails his boat down the road. He pursues it and coincidentally runs into a detour. The boat sails to the furthest limit of the road until it falls into the sewer. Georgie hurries to attempt to get it, stressed that Bill will be frantic. As he investigates the sewer, a couple of yellow eyes arise. They have a place with an element calling itself Pennywise the Moving Comedian, Bill Skarsgård. Pennywise energetically addresses Georgie prior to offering him his boat back. Georgie goes after it, just for Pennywise to snatch his arm and sink his monstrous teeth into it. The animal rips off Georgie's arm and leaves him weeping for Bill prior to hauling him down into the sewers. After 8 months, June 1989, we meet Mike Hanlon, chosen Jacobs, as his granddad Leroy, Stephen Williams, is making him kill a sheep with a pneumatic nailer. Leroy addresses the kid prior to carrying out the thing himself. It's the last day of school. Bill and his companion Richie Tozier, Finn Wolfhard, Eddie Kaspbrak, Jack Dylan Grazer, and Stanley Uries, Wyatt Olaf, who all structure the Losers Club, are going on a mission to begin their mid-year. Sadly, they run into the school's psychopathic domineering jerk Henry Bowers, Nicholas Hamilton, and his thugs Patrick Hochstetter, Owen Teague, Victor Chris, Logan Thompson, and Belch Huggins, Jake Sim. Bill tells Henry he sucks after the troublemaker ridicules his companions, and Henry approaches Bill threateningly until he sees his dad, Officer Bowers, Stuart Hughes, remaining behind Bill. He leaves, however, not prior to licking his palm and spreading it all over. A young lady named Beverly Marsh, Sophia Lillis, is smoking in the washroom. A gathering of mean young ladies drove by Greta, Megan Charpentier, insult her and blame Bev for being a prostitute. One young lady fills a garbage sack brimming with water and dumps it on Bev, yet she covers her head with her book. On out of the structure, Beverly meets the new youngster, Ben Haskam, Jeremy Ray Taylor. He gets singled out for his weight and he has no companions. Bev signs his yearbook, and Ben seems to foster a squash on her. At the point when Bill returns home, his dad Zach, Jeffrey Pouncett, reproves him for making a model with containers of the sewer framework in Derry since he actually accepts that Georgie is just absent. Zach advises him to acknowledge that Georgie is dead. Mike goes to the butcher shop to make a conveyance. Behind the entryway around the back street, he hears what sounds like shouting and beating. The entryway opens and a few consumed hands begin standing out. Mike then sees Pennywise, yet is almost run over by the Bowers posse in a vehicle. Mike escapes. Stan is at the gathering place reading up for his Jewish rite of passage. There is a painting in the rabbi's office that creeps him out, showing a lady with a misshaped face. The artwork falls, and when Stan gets it, the lady is no more. He pivots and IT appears as the lady with a fanged grin. Stan takes off. Ben is at the library looking into Derry's set of experiences. From a progression of articles, he discovers that kids in Derry have been vanishing under baffling conditions for a really long time. The book contains a portrayal of Pennywise and a missing kid's head in a tree. Ben is then tricked into the cellar where he sees the headless kid prior to getting pursued out by Pennywise. Coming back, Ben is gone after by the Bowers posse. Henry's hooligans hold him against the extension railing. Patrick needs to copy Ben with a lighter and bug shower, yet Henry intends to cut his name into Ben's stomach. An old couple drive by and see this yet sit idle. It's inferred that IT is there with the presence of a red inflatable. Henry just cuts AH before Ben kicks him in the nuts and turns over the extension and into the forest. The troublemakers pursue Ben. In the interim, the losers are close to the sewers as Bill has persuaded his companions to assist him with tracking down Georgie. Ben falls into the water close to them, and the young men snatch him and carry him to somewhere safe. Patrick runs into the sewers to attempt to get Ben, parting from his companions. He experiences satanic-looking youngsters that make him run, yet he goes over an impasse. A lot of red inflatables show up before him, and they generally pop to uncover Pennywise, who quickly gobbles up Patrick. The young men go to the drugstore to get cotton balls and gauzes, yet they are in need of cash. Beverly is there purchasing tampons when she runs into the young men. In the wake of hearing their concern, Bev professes to play with the drug specialist, Mr. Keene, Joe Bostic, to divert him. He puts on a show of being a jerk to her, however she figures out how to divert him long enough for the young men to take their provisions, and for her to slip away a few cigarettes. Bev heads outside and joins the young men when she sees the young men watching out for Ben. Beverly returns home to her dad, Stephen Begert, who is a significantly greater wet blanket than Mr. Keene. He goes on to his girl, making her run into the restroom crying. She then, at that point, continues to trim off her hair until it's at a more limited length. The young men, presently joined by Ben, are at the quarry prepared to bounce into the lake, yet nobody is anxious to go first. Bev appears and bounces first, driving the others to join. They have a good time while swimming and hanging out. Afterward, Ben educates everybody what he read regarding Derry's set of experiences. Eddie is heading back home when he passes the neglected house on Niebolt Street. He is out of nowhere gone after by a pariah, Javier Botet, making Eddie go through the house's yard. As he arrives at the wall, he sees Pennywise attempting to bait him toward him. Eddie runs under the wall and escapes. Bev is in her room with a postcard with a sonnet composed on it by a mysterious admirer. She believes it's Bill, however it was really Ben that composed it. From her restroom, Bev hears the voices of youngsters. She investigates the sink where the voices are, and clusters of hair begin contacting get her before a wellspring of blood spouts all around the washroom. Mr. Marsh comes in to see Bev astonished, yet he can't see the blood. He basically remarks that her hair makes her seem to be a kid. Bill is strolling around the house when he sees what resembles Georgie going around. Stunned, he follows Georgie to the storm cellar, which is flooding. Georgie ventures out and welcomes Bill to go along with him, saying, "We as a whole float down here. You'll drift as well." He rehashes, "You'll drift as well," until he hollers and deteriorates. Pennywise then rises out of the water and attempts to get Bill, yet he runs out of the storm cellar. The following day, the children are riding their bicycles when they see Mike's bicycle and the Bowers Pack's vehicle. They go somewhere near the rivulet to find the troublemakers bugging Mike for being dark. Bev tosses a stone at Henry's head, which starts a stone-tossing battle between the two gatherings. Mike goes to the loser's side while Vic and Belch take off as Henry is thumped oblivious. As the children leave with Mike, Bill specifies what he found in his home. Eddie upholds him on having seen Pennywise. Mike specifies what he saw and discusses how his old house was copied somewhere near bigoted thugs, and his folks passed on attempting to separate the way to his room, with their skin having softened deep down. Richie is the one in particular that hasn't been spooky, yet he concedes to being frightened by comedians. The children go to Bill's carport where they investigate a guide of Derry through a projector. They see that the sewers are connected to the Niebolt house, where IT lives. The projector then begins working itself, showing pictures of Bill and Georgie with their folks, however with Pennywise's face showing up over their mom. They push the projector over, yet it continues to play until Pennywise completely rises up out of the screen and attempts to get the children. They figure out how to escape the carport before he can hurt them. The losers go to the Niebolt house to deal with IT directly. Charge, Richie, and Eddie go into the house while the others stay outside as posts. Richie sees a missing banner of himself and he goes ballistic, yet Bill reminds him it's not genuine. Eddie gets isolated from his companions when Pennywise tracks down him. He falls through the floor and grounds in the kitchen, breaking his arm. Bill and Richie attempt to contact him through 3 entryways. The primary entryway they open uncovers a headless young lady. The subsequent entryway traps Richie inside with a room loaded with comedian dolls. He sees a casket with a faker of himself in it. He closes it, and Pennywise leaps out. He attempts to go after Richie, yet he runs out of the room. Pennywise returns his consideration regarding Eddie, yet Bill and Richie get to him before the jokester eats him. Beverly then makes an appearance to drive a lance through Pennywise's head, constraining him to withdraw. Eddie's mother prohibits the losers from spending time with him after she sees his messed up arm. Bill and Richie then get into a battle when Richie says this entire quest for Georgie has almost wrecked them. The losers head out in different directions as the other young men are excessively alarmed to continue onward. It's presently August, and the children have kept approaching their lives. Eddie goes to the drugstore to get his asthma medicine, just for Greta, who works behind the counter, to let him know that they are fake treatments. She then expresses failure on his arm cast. Henry is with Vic and Belch firing things with his father's firearm. He arranges Belch to present to him a feline to shoot. However, Officer Bowers makes an appearance to take the firearm from Henry. He then shoots the ground around Henry's feet to embarrass him before his companions and uncover him as a defeatist. Afterward, Henry sees a red inflatable on his letter drop. Inside is a blade, sent by IT. He goes inside as his dad is sleeping with the TV on. On the screen seems a lady with kids, all encouraging Henry to kill his dad. He does as such by putting the blade in his neck and allowing him to drain out. The children on TV, every last bit of its casualties, then begin reciting, "Kill them all. Kill them all." At the Marsh house, Beverly's father endeavors to follow up on his desire toward his girl. She fends him off and runs into the washroom. At the point when Mr. Marsh arrives, Bev whacks him across the face with a latrine top, killing him. Similarly, as she is going to leave, Pennywise tracks down her and takes her. Bill goes by Bev's home and tracks down her dad dead in the washroom, and sees, "You'll die if you try," composed on the wall in blood. He understands Bev has been taken by IT, so he goes to offer to set things right with his companions to save her. At the point when they get Eddie, his mother restricts him from leaving and joining his companions. However, he challenges her when he goes up against her over the fake treatments. He dumps her and joins his companions. The young men go to the Neibold house and find a well where IT stays. They move down a rope, yet before Mike can head down, Henry appears and goes after him. He begins pulling the rope up to forestall the young men from moving back up. Henry attempts to kill Mike with the pneumatic nailer that he brought, yet Mike wards him off and figures out how to push him down the well, sending him to his clear passing. Going further into the well, Stan is gone after by IT as the lady from the artistic creation. She chomps on his head, yet the young men drive IT off and comfort a humiliated Stan. All the young men head further into the well where they track down its nest. Every one of the youngsters he's taken are drifting up in the dead lights under a daze of some sort. The young men find Bev drifting. They pull her down, and Ben kisses her to break her out of the daze. Bill then sees Georgie rise out of the shadows. Georgie tells Bill he missed him and was sitting tight for him to come for him. Bill embraces his sibling, yet he knows it's not actually Georgie, and he shoots him in the head. His body squirms on the ground until he transforms into Pennywise. The comedian attempts to kill the children, yet they ward him off until he has his hang on Bill. Pennywise gives the others the choice to pass on together, or leave him with simply Bill. Bill advises them to run, however Richie is quick to retaliate. The children then begin giving a thumping to Pennywise until he is frail, unfit to hurt them since they never again dread him. Before Bill can strike the lethal disaster for the jokester's breaking skull, Pennywise withdraws into the murkiness and in this way get away. The seized kids then, at that point, float descending. Bill then, at that point, tracks down Georgie's waterproof shell. He understands that Georgie genuinely is gone. Bill separates in tears as his companions accumulate around and embrace him. It is presently September. The losers swear a blood promise to get back to Derry in 27 years. Would it be a good idea for IT at any point return? They hang out for some time until every one of them steadily leaves, with just Bill and Bev stay behind. She will move to Portland now. As she leaves, Bill approaches her and kisses her. End of Chapter 1. If you make it till the end, thank you so much for watching, and feel free to leave a feedback about this video. See you guys in the next video.